Hey everyone, it's Tina, and while unpacking, I thought I would do a quick playthrough. This time, I'll take a look at Freedom the Underground Railroad. This probably wouldn't be a full playthrough. I'll see how far I can get, but I will definitely give you a gist of how the game is played before I end this series. The game takes place from 1800 to 1865. We players are abolitionists, and we're trying to work to end slavery in the United States. And during this time, we're trying to help slaves escape from the United States into Canada, where slavery is abolished. So as you can imagine, the theme is definitely on the heavy side. And since this is a cooperative game, the difficulty is not easy, and there will often be times when you will lose slaves. So the subject itself is not a light one. The Underground Railroad is not actually a railroad, but a network of routes, safe houses, and meeting points where slaves could use to escape to freedom. Here on the game board, you can see a lot of dotted lines that indicates the route of the Underground Railroad. To set up, you're going to take the roll cards, shuffle them, and deal 1 to each player. In this game, I'll be showing a 2-player playthrough, and we'll be playing the preacher and the station master. Next, you want to grab the corresponding player mat and place in front of the characters. On the game board, for the plantations, which are these 3 locations, you want to set up by placing the slave cubes onto the light boxes, so light colored boxes. So you start here with 6 slaves in this plantation, 4 over on this one, and 6 more on that one. Next, you have to set up the slave market, which is on the right side of the board. And to do this, you take the slave market cards and you remove the cards that do not correspond to the number of players that you're playing with. So the 3s and 4s and the 3s, they would be taken out, and I would be left with a deck that's like the 2 or the 1 player. Once you have the deck, you shuffle this, and I have already done that. And then you deal out 3 cards, so 1, 2, 3, and place the corresponding number of slaves onto that card. So we know upcoming, we have a slave market that has 6 slaves for sale. Next, we want to set up the abolition cards, which are these ones with the red backs. You want to take out the cards that is not for your player account, so 3s and 4s come out, basically. Separate the decks into different periods. There are 3, 1800 to 1839, 40 to 59, 60 to 65. Once you have the 3 decks, you want to shuffle in a number of these red cards, which are the bad stuff. To know how many to shuffle into the deck, you refer to the setup guide. For a 2-player game, we need 3 red cards for the first period, 4 for the second, and 3 for the third. Shuffle that amount of red cards in, and you have your 3 abolition card decks. Finally, you want to deal out 5 cards from the first deck. So I've already done that here. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here. And you deal from this side over to the left. These are cards that we have available in our abolitionist queue to purchase during our turns. Next, we're going to grab the victory condition board. So we're just going to grab the one that says 2-player. And there are actually 2 sides to this board. One with the red shaded section here. And that's just the harder version of the game if you're up for the challenge. But let's just do this. 2-player, we're going to grab this. And this goes to the top right corner of the board. Each player begins the game with $8. Pick 1 player to be the lead player, and that player gets this lantern token. So let's say the preacher gets that. Place the slave catcher tokens onto the board in the corresponding starting locations. So purple is going to go here, and I've already put the rest. Next, we have the most tedious part of setup, which is putting the tokens onto the corresponding places onto the board. There are 3 types of tokens. There's support, conductor, and fundraising. And there are also 3 periods, so purple, green, and this turquoise color. For 2 players, we have period 1, 2 support, 5 conductor, and 2 fundraiser tokens. And so you just refer to this board. One thing to note is that there are these tokens that are differently colored. And for example, during the purple period, which is period 2, we have this token, which is the conductor token. But the shading is a little different. This token, which is apparently gray in color, it doesn't look that gray to me, but apparently gray in color, is the last token that you place on the board, and you basically put whatever number it says here on top of that token. And what that means is during the game, these tokens, you purchase and use them, but this gray token, after you purchase and used it, it always goes back into the board, so you can purchase it over and over again. Whereas these ones, they just get purchase and use, one-time use. This one kind of gets recycled to make sure you still have that action to purchase during the turns. Take note that this total actually includes the gray tokens. I'm going to put this on the board now. And there you have it. We have all of our tokens set up. We're now ready to play Freedom, the Underground Railroad.